Welcome to this week's session with the Putnam County District Library. This week we are taking a closer look at a couple more things with Photopea. We did this a couple weeks ago, so we're just going to dive a little bit deeper with a couple things. So if you go to photopea.com, you will see that you can actually install Photopea on your machine from right here. If you have something that you have worked on in the past on your machine, you can go open it from the computer. Otherwise, you would go to New Project. When you go to New Project, you have all of these different template files that have already kind of been created by size for you, which kind of makes it nice. If I go to print, I would see different sizes. If I go to photo, so forth. I'm going to pick photo, and I'm going to pick on 5x7, and then you'll see how it automatically changes here, and it already has the width and the height. So from here, I am going to make sure that I title this. That way, if I ever want to go back and find what I had created, I can do that. And I'm going to simply click on Create. When I click on Create here, what you will see is my blank canvas. This is the background. I allowed it to make the background white. I could change that color if I chose to. And then I am simply going to take an image and drag that across. I can drag it right onto my background. And now notice all of a sudden I do have another layer. So the first thing we're going to look at here is we're going to look at the different tools here, starting here at the top with the eclipse. Or I can, if I were to click here, I can see you also have the rectangular as well. So I can change that back and forth. But I'm going to simply pick part of my image here. And now I have that selected. And what I want you to see is now if I were to go to the paintbrush, for example, whatever I draw and write, the one thing I will say, I guess, before I go on is when you do any of these, it does have to I can never say the word properly, rasterize the image. So you would want to go ahead and click here on OK, so that it will take this image. I'm going to drag this back. If I simply pull my mouse, it takes my image off to the side is what's happening here. So let me bring my mouse back around here for you. Okay, so it's done that. Now what I've got is when I click and pick on that, I already selected my paintbrush, and now notice I'm drawing and it's drawing inside of there. However, when I go outside, notice nothing is happening with unless I'm back inside of that, where that rectangle shape was. And then the other thing to show you here is if I were to go to my select tool here and I were to say inverse, I currently have that selected. If I go inverse, now all of a sudden what I've got and what I can move around is, I'm going to go back up here to my select tool. I would notice what happens. It's moving this because it does the inverse. If I'm going to go back one time here. I'm going to go back to select. I'm going to undo my inverse, and now notice it's moving this around. What I had to do is I had to go back up here to my select, right up here at the top, and then now I can move those around. And then the last thing that I kind of wanted to take a look at today and show you is just the simple fact that when you are working, you often will want to be able to zoom in and look at things closer. So if you do that, you would simply go down here to what looks like your magnifying glass, and now you'll notice how my image changed over with the plus. So let's say I wanted to do something here and I wanted to work with the sun specifically. then what happens is it's zoomed in enough that I could see that. If I click on my control key, or not, I shouldn't say my control key, my option key on a Mac or on the Alt key on a Windows machine, it'll change that cursor over and then I can zoom back out. So plus zooming in, minus zooming out. And for the sake of just looking at this one more time, I want to show you how you could actually crop an image. Notice how it makes the squares here. So I'm going to simply say I want this, I'm going to crop that, and then now all of a sudden I have that part. And again, if I want to keep cropping, all I do is hit return, and it's only putting that part in. That is just a couple more of the tools. Text is another one that you'll often see being used. If you click on text, then when you go over here and I'm making my box there, and then whatever I start to type is going to go in. And just like with anything, I can change the style, I can change the size so that, and now notice all of my letters, my repeated T's that I typed are now visible to you. And again, I've got a background. That's my first layer. My image itself is my second layer. And now my T's are my third layer. If I go here to my eyeball, notice what happens when I click. It turns that layer on and off. So depending on what you are working with and what you're currently working on, you might want to turn a layer on and off as you are working. It makes it a little bit easier sometimes to see and to work with and adjust accordingly. I hope you can find this information helpful, and I look forward to meeting with you next week. Everyone have a great week.